8:43, good morning. I'm Brian Gallagher. We have a guest in studio from Central District Health Department. He's back, Mike Bachoven here to talk about some things that we need to be aware of, especially heading into next week. How you been?
Doing good. Good. Thanks for having me back on.
Let's talk about preparing for heat. We think we're good at this, okay? And in years past, we have seen our share of heat. There's a lot of people really concerned about lingering heat conditions. And I'm not going to get into that debate. Mm-hmm. We need to be prepared for ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yesterday we saw our own little one-day roller coaster. Okay. Saw the rain in the morning, sun come out, then the clouds came back. Looked like it was going to rain again. It was relatively mild. Then the sun came back out with the humidity, and bam!
Yep.
It was just steamy. Now next week it's supposed to be in the 90s and maybe even higher.
Yeah.
So let's look ahead. Let's be prepared because hot weather is returning.
That is a real good summary because we've had a pretty mild summer so far. Hasn't been so bad. And then I was looking at the forecast, I'm like 97, 98, 100, that sort of thing. So it's good to always refresh this information just because you never know when you're going to have one of those freak hot days and you're stuck outside. But it's also good because it's going to come and it's going to hang around a little bit as it does every single summer. So there are a couple different heat-related illnesses to kind of, be on the lookout for. I mean, everybody knows, what a heat rash and a sunburn is. But then you run into kind of the more serious stuff, which is the heat exhaustion, which is when which is a medical issue, which is when, you've got heavy sweating, you've got muscle cramps, you've got headaches, you've got dizziness, you might faint. And then you've got the heat stroke, which is the big one, which is call the ambulance and get somebody some serious medical care. And that's when the body temp gets above 103. That's when you stop sweating. That's when the person is confused or you lose consciousness or your pulse gets really fast. And just kind of knowing the signs of these things is a good idea in terms of when to seek help and when to just get out of the heat.
Mike Bachoven is here from Central District Health Department. We've talked about these awareness issues. Are there some things people can do for the short term to try to help them get through these sudden situations?
Yeah, good question. So if you experience any of the heat exhaustion symptoms, and what usually happens, many times, is that you get heat exhaustion and then it progresses, right? So it's not usually, you don't go from 0 to 100, it's usually a progression. So if you start noticing your pulse quickening, if your skin is very hot, if you're dizzy, if you get a headache, the thing that you can do for yourself is to do the best you can to cool off. So if your clothes are very tight, let's get some cooler clothes on. Let's sip water. Let's use, cool towels, on your neck and on your wrists, those sort of things. But the thing that I think is the most important is that when you get to that progression to where heat stroke, then you're talking about from a bad time to a serious medical condition. And that's when you need to get medical professionals involved, call an ambulance, that sort of thing.
You talk about the towels. It is amazing how that simple little step can cool you down very quickly. And if you apply one to your neck, you apply one to your wrist, you apply one to your forehead, whatever seems to help you, you will know very quickly. And the towel does not have to be soaked.
Yeah.
Now, even more moisture is nice, but you don't have to douse yourself. It's just good because all of a sudden your body is going to very rapidly react to that relief.
Yep. And the other simple step, the thing that kind of takes steps down on that progression is if you're hydrated. So, and a lot of the stuff is related to not being hydrated. So, yeah, drink some water, cool yourself off, and just be aware of when things go from just I'm too hot to I have a medical situation.
Be aware, sometimes hydration can be reinterpreted.
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
totally.
So there are good things to
talking.
hydrate with, and there are not so good things to hydrate with. And if your hydration preference has some alcohol in it, be mindful because the alcohol will actually dry you out.
Yeah, so will coffee or caffeine. I mean, that is if you're drinking a Diet Coke, that is not hydration. That is something else, which is fine. I mean, go ahead and do that, but just be aware that water is best and usually the most available and probably the way to go.
Keep these things in mind. If folks have a question, can they find out more?
Yeah, we actually have a web page up on our website, which is cdhd.ne.gov, and then you can find some pretty great stuff online, but we have some links there too.
Hot weather's coming. Be prepared. Mike Bachoven from Central District Health Department. Always a pleasure.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Good morning from AM 1430 KRGI 105.5 FM.